and good morning, everyone. Welcome to this week's new episode of Breakfast with Boom. I am your host, BoomStick XL, and we have an exciting show for you here today. Now, listen, we're a little light on guests. I'm shooting up the flare. Maybe I can get one or two more people. Most of the Breakfast with Boom crew is out. They're out, on traveling. They're on vacation, and we should have everyone back in full gear next week. But we do have one of the main members that is here each and every week, and he is going to be talking about what happened at last night's State of Play. You know him as Mr. Badbit, the voice, the subtle voice of the trophy room. Joe, how the heck are you?
Dude, I'm doing fantastic. As you know, I start my new job next week.
Yes.
So I gotta and I've been balancing because like one of these shows I can't be on, and
That's
it hurts.
Correct. Yeah.
And I'm still figuring it out. I'm like, which needs to go, and I'm scared.
Well, I say
because I love both of these shows,
look,
man.
I'm going to be honest with you. Because I know your work schedule. I say you take off from the Xbox Factor podcast, and
I love Archimedes' voice.
I'm sorry. Let me refresh that. You stay on the Xbox Factor podcast, and you take off from this show so you can have a 3-day weekend. That's important to me. But listen, we'll leave.
I'll announce it at the end of the show. How about that?
How about that? You flip a coin and you go. But listen, we got to get to. We are privileged to have royalty return to the kingdom, and of course that is King David. Now, King, you came into this show laughing, so I can only imagine what you're going to say today, and what is going to be coming out of your kingdom to my kingdom. How you doing, man? Welcome back.
I'm doing splendid. This is the gift that keeps on giving. Bad news on a Thursday. Oh, wait. Oh, my God. This is so fantastic. You got Nintendo with the bad news that they dropped. And you got Sony with the state of mediocrity. It gets no better than this. I love it. The winds of change smell mighty fine, people. Gather round.
Well, look, I mean, listen, we're not going to beat around the bush here, folks. Listen, Sony's State of Play was out happened yesterday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Joe, you covered it live. And you had an after show. I wind up doing a post show coverage. It's actually one of the shortest shows I think I've ever done.
Yeah,
honestly, it was like 50. It was like 56 minutes.
Yeah,
listen. A lot of people. I'm talking. Let's remove the trolls from the conversation, folks. Right, the trolls.
Why gotta leave?
You're not a troll. You just like to poke the bear, and that's okay. Yes. You're a big man, so you can fight the bear. It's okay.
That's right.
I will say this: removing the trolls from the conversation, and I'm talking about the warriors, the console warriors that battle over plastic. That we don't like them because they really do give said group a bad look. So we're removing them from the conversation. The general conversation with PlayStation fans. A lot of them are disappointed, and I understand that Sony kind of let us know ahead of time that we weren't getting the God of War, we weren't getting the AAA bomb announcement. This was going to be dedicated to Deathloop. They gave us, I think it was 8 or 9 minutes worth of that, which it looked good. Didn't look great fantastic. For me. Again,
really?
It looked very Dishonored 2. I didn't like Dishonored 2. I loved Dishonored 1. Fell off the wagon with 2. Is it a game I'm going to play? Yes. Where am I going to play it? I'm going to play it on Xbox because it's a game that I'm not going to buy if I'm feeling lukewarm. I know that next year, come out and it'll be one of those titles that Microsoft puts in the Game Pass, and it'll be all fine. But as we wait for potentially new other guests and people to kind of file in, because we're only 4 minutes into the show, I'm going to give you a list of what they showed. They opened the show with Moss Book 2. Now, Moss, if you didn't know, is a PlayStation VR game this seemed a little out of place because I didn't even know that they were supporting it anymore because there hasn't really been any big announcements. I thought we were getting a PlayStation VR 2.0 something. Let me see that we know what the controls look like. Give me what the thing looks like. No, they didn't do that. Then they had something called Arcade-ageddon. Very Fortnite inspired. The audience that they're looking for is that kid audience. It's not for Boom.
It gave me what's that, the kickball game, Knockout City.
It's funny you should say that because that's exactly what Kayasante and BitCloud had to say. So it reminded me of Knockout City. Tribes of Midgar,
and also Osmosis Jones, the face. I'm sorry.
Oh you're right. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Art style.
Tribes of Midgar. That excited me for a hot minute because it reminded me of Champions of Norath, me and Mrs. Boomstick's favorite game. And then, of course, they started building things. I fell off a cliff. I said, you know what? I'm not building kingdoms. I'm not fighting, hordes. I want to search for loot. So I thought it was a loot game that was kind of like Diablo. And then they saw me building things and said, you know what? No good. Mrs. Boomstick is going to throw us in the bushes. Fist, day one. I hope there's a collector's edition. Fist looks fantastic. Cool. Sifu. Fantastic. That game looks good. I'm very interested. Hunter's Arena, free PlayStation Plus game. Very excited for that because it's a hack.
Question for King. How much royalties are you getting being in the game and all?
Oh yeah, right. That was it was so hilarious. I'm sitting there watching it, and
they definitely stole your look. They did me throughout the years with the afro and everything, and I was like, this is absolutely hilarious. And then shout out to my boy Neil Spark. He screenshotted and posted that yesterday. Oh, they dropped the bag. King David's in the game. And it was absolutely hilarious. All I could say was I thought that as well. My girl looked over and saw it, was like, oh my God, you're in the game. And she was like, you get in the game? And I was like, hell no. Because nothing I saw there, not one game I saw there enticed me at all. Not in the least, not in a little bit, not a thought of it. And it's the reason why I go to these shows with a different mind. I go to these shows. Okay, so Sony's going to do a show. I'm going to the show to be wowed, right? To see where I'm going to spend my money, because I know now I have to make a conscious effort on what I'm going to spend, right? When I go and watch Microsoft shows, I go with leisure because they tell you, all right, so you're going to have 30 games, and out of those 30 games, 27 of them is coming to Game Pass. Well, lock me in, baby. Even if I'm thinking something looks a little bit sexy, I'm going to try it out. If maybe not, I'll try it out. I'll see it. I don't like it, I'll delete it. Whatever. I go with different eyes here, because now I'm going with discerning eyes, and I got to check, and I got to shift through stuff. So, Deathloop, of course, that was the start of the show. But like Boom said, it just, maybe they were showing alpha stuff or beta stuff. I don't know how far along of this clip it was, right? But it was just a little bit off on certain parts. They gave a little bit more detail on things, which I did like. But again, that's a Game Pass game that's coming next year that I can worry about later. And when it shows up in Game Pass, I'm pretty sure it'll be refined, and we'll get the Ultimate Package Edition, whatever the hell it is, and we'll play it then. All right, so that removes the big ticket item off the board for me, right? That's the big ticket item. This was a Microsoft show, basically. And then you had a bunch of the indie games, and not taking anything away from the developers here. I don't want you guys to feel that I'm defecating on your games. You're asking me to spend money now. Now you're asking me for what piqued my curiosity. And a lot of these games weren't in a state that I felt that were warranted for my cash. Sure. Okay. Some games I would try. Like I was hoping to hear PlayStation Now for a lot of those games, and I only heard PlayStation Now for like 2 games. Why are you not cultivating your service? Why are you not
cultivating your fan base? Why are you not allowing your fans to feel like they have some form of value? Why doesn't your service have some form of value? When are we going to start taking PlayStation Now serious? When is it going to be the time when we're going to start to look over and say we can watch these shows with reckless abandon and carefree thoughts that we can run and we can try these games out and play them? I don't care for a 3-hour time demo of something. Put the game inside PlayStation Now. Let it stand on its own merits. Just because it's there doesn't mean that you can't purchase it. You can purchase the game, right? And if you happen to love the game, you like the game, and I think this gives developers more incentive to make those games have those hooks, to make you want to pay for the game, to make you say, man, this was so good. I got a chance to play it for free. Let me just go to the store and give them my money. Because I do that a lot with Game Pass. But I don't think I will have the chance to do this because, again, I'm walking in with discerning eyes, trying to shift through the games to see what I'm going to spend my money on. And it turns into a spend money situation opposed to me watching, trying to figure out what I'm going to play next. That's how I felt when I saw it.
You know, it's funny. Joe, I want to go to you next on this because there are two parts of my brain that are working on this particular situation. One is what people expect because Sony said so. But there's also still a disappointment because you have to remember, the way I look at situations like this, and I think King might even agree here, is that we all, as content creators, not fanboys, we judge these companies on what they did last. I think that is just life in general. Now, you look at what Microsoft has done last. Well, they had one of the best E3s since the Xbox 360 days, and they followed that with 4 additional events dedicated per title. You had the Forza one, you had this one, you had the Sea of Thieves one, you got the Halo one, and it was one bomb after another. What has hurt Sony? Besides a complete dip in the marketing, and we're going to get to that in a minute after this.
Yeah, I think that's what it is, though.
Is the lack of transparency with the fan base. And I'm a fan, folks. I'm one of these fans that looked at this show and said, this is technically your answer to Microsoft's E3, because that's technically what it is.
That's how we look at it.
Right?
That's how we're going to perceive it. Yes.
Yes.
So, so real talk. I think Sony's biggest issue right now is the lack of communication. I love the PR team over at Xbox. I love it so much. I love the marketing team as well. Even though I hated that R&B song, I absolutely dreaded it, and it reminded me of every quinceañera I've ever freaking been to. It's the worst.
Can I just chime in on that one thing really quickly? Old Microsoft would have never done that.
Never done that, though.
They never would have.
And I might be way off base here. But I'm going to attribute it to ZeniMax acquiring. And I just think there's a different level of cachet, a different level of fancy free feeling over there that they're willing to put themselves out there to do these things. And if it hit with you or didn't, it made you laugh.
Yeah, it certainly did that. I mean, again, if you grew up in the 90s. No, if you grew up in the 90s, folks, that was R&B back in the days. Yeah.
I contribute that to literally like Xbox's marketing team. I think like with Stein taking over, I really like. Yeah. I think that's him. I think what he wants is all. Yeah, they really are pushing that community feel, and that's what I think PlayStation's biggest problem is, that they feel divorced from their community. And, that's my biggest issue. It wasn't the state of play. They literally told us on Tuesday, this is what it is. Like, this is Deathloop in indies. And I'm like, fine. This is for the indie lovers, like my co-host Kyle, he's going to love this event because this is tailor made for him. That being said, walking in, I was like, walking in, I was like, I'm expecting this to be a 6. Walking out, I'm like, that's a 6. And for me, I like what you said, King. Like, this is not PlayStation's answer to the Xbox event. That comes later, as they've alluded to twice. But it is, whether they say it is or isn't, that's a whole other thing. It's literally the latest thing we can think of, and that's why I think this event was, in the grand scheme of things, a mistake, because you have to, no matter what expectations you're setting, you do have to. This is the only time where there's a possible counter punch, right? Because you just looked at your competition, and they had their best E3 ever. I truly believe that.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, okay, and the next thing we're going to do is set expectations super low and just do a whole bunch of indie stuff, which is what I don't have any problem with. I think they should actually do more shows like that. It's like, here's our indie show, but not immediately after, or not after, their
what I noticed what Sony did, and I think this is a feint from them. All right, so in boxing, right, if you don't throw an actual punch, it's called a feint, because you want to see what position that your opponent is going to be in, right? So if you feint a jab at him, you want to see if he's going to dip left or dip right, or if he's going to go to parry or go to block, right? Or so that way it gives you an indication on what he's susceptible to. All right, and I say this to say, I think that when they showed Forbidden West the week before the Microsoft show, they wanted Microsoft to go all the way out, right? They wanted Microsoft to just go balls to the wall and just give you everything that they had. Microsoft didn't actually. Microsoft just put together a damn good show, right? So, and this was to feint them, to make Microsoft believe, okay, we didn't have anything, we're going to put this show out here, what's up, then see if Microsoft counters with something else. What they didn't expect Microsoft to do during that week of E3 was to put out the 4 shows that they did afterwards, right? And I believe that was so Bethesdaism and Microsoft, in a way that Bethesda ran the show, in my opinion. Don't know it for sure. This is what it looks like from the outside, because you looked at the ineptitude of Microsoft before this stuff, and it will be an indicator that we know Bethesda to run great shows. I don't care what anybody say, they do, right? So the Microsoft show was run great, and then the deep dive stuff that Microsoft usually does was done secondly. And I believe that was part of the whole show, but they broke it down very good into a way that you can dissect it and digest it. Now, Sony doing this show was akin to Microsoft doing their indie show. Remember that indie show last year?
Yeah, the May show. Yes. So, which, by the way, they were strung up by their Buster Browns,
right,
for that show.
Exactly.
Seriously. They really were people put them through the paces. Specifically, hold on a sec. Good old gaming media. This is what Xbox showed. They said gameplay. We didn't get this. I understand the gameplay thing. See, that was
you're talking last year at May. Last year's May. I think Xbox learned a lot from that showcase, for sure.
They did, like I said, if there was one takeaway for criticism, it was the word gameplay. You remove that, it's a fantastic show, because all of those indies that they showed are coming out this year. And and I walked away with, oh wow, I there isn't really a game here I don't like. Whereas this particular showcase was one of those showcases that one of the things I want to say that neither of you guys have alluded to, but we talked privately, and I want to mention it and get your opinion on it, is a lot of the pacing seemed like this was put together very quickly. Like it was kind of like, copy and paste this one. It did not feel like standard PlayStation-esque, like event. Even though it's not an event or an E3 event, it's still their follow-up to Microsoft's show, which was the biggest one in their history of the company, plus the extra added bonuses of the Sea of Thieves, the Halo, the Forza. We got all these deep dives. And it's funny, I think they learned something from this. This is how you do your shows moving forward. You spend time going game, and then on the back end, hey, folks, if you want to watch on Twitch, on Tuesday, June, whatever, we're doing a deep dive, in Halo, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Good marketing.
Yeah. For me, I think where the show died off for interest was after Sifu. Like Jet the Far Shore didn't look.
It didn't resonate with me either.
Yeah, good for me. I know a lot of like my indie friends really look forward to this game. I just don't know why. I'll be real. Demon Slayer. Apparently, this is a very, 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 very popular anime, and that's all I have to say about it. Lost Judgment. I don't care for the Yakuza games. I tried Like a Dragon. I just couldn't. The Death Stranding's director's cut. Man, Kojima just stopped caring. I love it. the fragile racetrack, dope.
Awesome.
When you see the type of cars, I'm like, this is the dumbest thing. I love it. And like Deathloop, I do like. King, you talked about it. I want to give credit to PlayStation, Bethesda, and Xbox here, man. Because, I stress this on the trophy room. This is, first off, Deathloop for me looks stellar. And this gameplay showcase, I loved it. I think they set the tone of what this game is here, and they really sold me on it. When the guy comes out, he's like, "Hey there, sluts." All right, I'm good.
Crazy,
this is funny. So I love that. And, PlayStation is put in a vicarious situation here because, they know it. You know it. You memed it. They seen it. This game's going to be on Game Pass in a year and a half, right? So they're putting a rock in a hard place here. And they're just like, okay, so here's what we're going to do. We can't put you on our main show, but what we're going to do is create this little event for you. You're going to headline it. You're going to have the spotlight on you. How do you like that? And then in September, we'll advertise you. We'll see this thing full term. And Bethesda agreeing to that. And then even a lot of people, I don't think of this of Phil, thought Phil was throwing shade when he's like, hey, go check out Deathloop in his tweet about that state of play. Kind of acknowledging for sure the meme, but at the same exact time, that is the CEO of your competitor saying, check out our competitor's advertisement. And I think that is something that, we don't really think too much about.
No.
You don't think that at all?
No. That was Phil Dominus Maximus Aurelius Spencer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Letting you know, get over there, go check out our game that if you buy it there, is going to put money in our pocket. Go have fun and look at this great game that our competitor is going to have before we do. So go, if you want to go buy it now. And then when it's time to get over to Xbox. But hey guys, go have fun with our stuff on the other guy's stuff.
And I like that. I really do, because it is a multi-dimensional approach to it.
Let me ask you a question.
Go for it. Is that who I think it is? Is this beautiful?
Hey, Zemi Games 84 on the scene. What's up, Zemi?
I just woke up.
What's up, dude?
I'm so sorry, man.
That's okay, dude. No, don't sweat it.
I've been on the Xbox Factor for too long. I thought it was 12, but I forgot that the show started at 10. Right?
Hey, listen. You know what? We're all here. We're gonna get into. We'll get your opinion. Did you get a chance to check out the Sony State of Play, Zemi?
I did. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll get your opinion. King, please continue with Phil Dominus Maximus Aurelius Spencer's. Public move.
He's petty. It was great.
Is petty, you think?
I believe. Please. Listen. The shoe is on the other foot now, buddy. But I do feel that I don't know why Sony didn't do the same thing with MLB The Show. You understand?
Fair. Yeah.
Why didn't they tweet out, go check out MLB The Show on Game Pass? Because let me tell you something. I don't care where that game sells at. You getting paid. Right? I don't care. Yeah. Listen, that Montreal team. No, that's Santa Monica, right? That's Santa Monica, right?
Is
that Santa Monica?
No, San Diego.
San Diego.
San Diego.
Yeah, the San Diego team. They are getting great praise right now.
Yeah, man.
The numbers are through the roof. This gives them a level of stability going forward. They're seeing the game in a totally different light. So I think stuff like that, even if it's tongue in cheek, even if it's petty, even if it's, a little bit of, gamesmanship, you're still getting paid. right?
Sure.
And it shows that you have a lighter side to yourself and you can joke back and forth. And I think people love that from their companies. That tweet probably went viral from Phil, but an equal tweet from Jim Dance Moves Ryan would have been equally as funny and equally as impressive.
I think Jim Dance Moves Ryan didn't do that because he knows Game Pass is such an incredible value. Like that's what it is. It's showing off a service that is so superior.
Wouldn't you want? And I mean, hindsight is 2020, right? Yeah. But I'm thinking as a businessman, right? Sure. And if my product is someplace where I can get 25 million people to see it, right? And I got 8 million over here, I'm gonna do the damnedest to get my 8 million a purchase. But if I got 25 million eyes on it, and I know I get 33 and a third off of every one that's sold, well, hello, buddy. Please go check it out in Game Pass. Please.
I think it's the Apple approach because, like Apple, they have apps on Android, but they never talk about them. They're just like, yeah, Apple Podcast is here. Yeah, Apple Music is here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
But it's on iPhone, and that's what they're always. I think that is the more Apple approach. I agree with you. I think and again, that's why I really like Phil doing that. I'm like, oh, that's great. Because I don't think he's a businessman for sure. I don't think he's as petty. And I think the Epic and the Epic and Apple lawsuit kind of shows that by just the way he's talking when cameras aren't on him, right? Yeah. So that's why I think I think Phil's a pretty genuine dude.
Oh no,
what you see is what you get with Phil.
I'm not saying that it wasn't based in anything genuine, but at the same time, if somebody has their foot on your neck for so long, at some point in time when you get a chance to either dig back, some people do, some people don't. And the way you want to interpret it is fine. I myself am a petty individual, so I interpret the petty way.
I mean, look again. What we have to look at is what these companies have done recently. Sony, I'm not saying. Listen, Sony isn't going anywhere. This is not an attempt to be like Sony's on the ropes. It's not. What is happening here is there is a changing of the guard. And again, now can we suggest that this may be Sony's cockiness coming back to hurt them? I honestly don't know. To be fair, because again, that's a deep rabbit hole that I'm not looking to dive down. I'm going to say there's definitely a difference in the way they're handling things. Yesterday, again, like King and Mr. Babbitt have already alluded to, as well as myself, is that this is Sony's first showing since the Microsoft E3 that literally took the world by storm, and it's a poor showing. That's the end of the story. I walked away with 3 games that were interesting to me. King walked away with none of them. King said,
"Well, because Deathloop is coming to the Xbox,
right?
And if and I know a couple of those games actually might show up on Game Pass." For sure. It's just I don't see anything that I only use my PlayStation for them AAA bangers. All right, to be real and honest.
That's me as well.
That word. Right. You use that word. I hate that word.
Well, listen, but some games that you may feel aren't AAA may be AAA to me. I just walked away from the show.
No. You said, and I'm saying this word just because I'm not saying it. It's just banger. I hate it.
Oh, banger!
I hate it. Banger. That's the cool kids.
It's my trigger word.
Banger.
Oh, it's a great word. Banger.
But you know what? Let's first of all, Zemi, welcome back to Breakfast with Boom. Obviously, this is where you started. Then you obviously moved your things into the Xbox Factor on Thursday, and recently you moved your stuff into. You like moving. You might be like a hobo. You kind of like moving from one place to the other. And of course, we're happy to have you. Listen, again, the main crux of the opening salvo for today's show is what Sony showed at the State of Play in comparison to, of course, what was shown by Xbox. This is. I'm not saying it's their specific answer. They're not saying that. But though there are a lot of people that are saying that, well, this is Sony's first show. what WTF, right? So
Yeah.
what are your personal thoughts on and takeaways from yesterday's mini event? Because that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I thought that the show was good, right? It obviously does not compare to Xbox whatsoever. And PlayStation, Sony, they know it doesn't compare to Xbox, right? Because if it did, they would have showed it during E3, more than likely. But watching the show, there were a handful of games that interest me. There was quite a few that didn't. The Jet game, for instance, I thought that game actually looked pretty cool. It kind of has like an indie vibe to it, but I really like the space exploration of alien planets, stuff like that. Lost Judgment, I thought that game looked pretty good. And then Deathloop, seeing it during the PlayStation show has me more interested to play it, and more importantly, it has me more interested to play it on the actual PlayStation console using the haptic triggers, which we won't be able to get on Xbox, of course. But all in all, I mean, I would have loved to see God of War. I would have loved to see a new Spider-Man game. I would have loved to see like a big, huge, AAA Sony game. I mean, that's a big reason why I ended up buying a PS5, right? But I get it, right? They're not ready to show us that type of stuff. If they were, we would have seen it at E3. Is it a little bit disappointing? Absolutely. But I feel the same way that we say, hey, the games are coming for Xbox. We should probably also say that, hey, the games are coming for Sony, right? We know these games are more than likely eventually coming. They just had a fantastic last generation. We will get these games. They're just running behind for whatever reason it may be. And it also appears that they don't have nearly as many studios or games really currently in the pipeline as Xbox. When comparing, the availability of first party games, Xbox is definitely leading in the forefront right here. But all in all, I thought that the show was a good show. I think it would have been a huge mistake if they would have shown what they showed us yesterday at E3, right? And that's a big reason why they didn't. But all in all, I thought the show was good. It wasn't nearly as good as what Xbox showed us during E3, but it's a good show for it to be their first state of play. Since Xbox E3.
Well, I'm going to say this. You hit on a note that I want to grab everyone's opinion on before we move on to the marketing blunder that took place the other day, which I hate to say this, people were talking about right after the state of play, which again, that in itself, it's concerning. If you're not talking about state of play, which just happened, and you're talking about the blunder with the upside down PlayStation 5 commercial, you're not doing your platform justice. And again, there is going to come a point where Sony is not going to be able to rely on, well, we used to do this well. No, that eventually is going to run out for them. I'm telling you, it is. But Zemi, you made mention about having things ready. Now, one of the things that's pretty interesting, we are now we're rolling into the second week of July, right? This event is nearly a month removed from when E3, where everyone else was doing their thing in the beginning of June. What's concerning here is they didn't have anything ready that you wanted to see in regards to these big blockbuster titles that we know Sony has in the pipeline. Now, they did make mention, hey, listen, more stuff is coming. It's a little vague. Is it August? Is it September? We hearing August 8th. Is the guy that leaked this show right again? I couldn't tell you because Sony's not saying. But here is where we run into a problem. If it turns out that the next show is God of War, they show a brief trailer and they give us a Horizon with no release date, let's just say. Sony's going to find themselves behind the 8 ball. That's the end of the story when compared directly to Xbox. And that's what we're going to do here. We're not saying one's better than the other. We're saying, okay, this is what Microsoft showed. This is what PlayStation showed. And it's not good because I'm going to be honest with you. I have to call it down the middle. if this was roles reversed and this was Xbox, I am freaking telling you, the media would have crucified Xbox. King, please, elaborate on what I'm saying here. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. For a long time, PlayStation has been afforded the cachet. They make games. And I really believe that generation is probably from either the PlayStation 3 generation or the PlayStation 4 guys. Because I was there from the beginning, from when they had to struggle to get games, and when they were a developer, don't forget that stuff. But it's now they had the hubris. The hubris has taken away that luxury. So if it was a Microsoft show, yes, Microsoft has always been dogged with the fact that they don't have games, and it's always been doom and gloom, and they've always been the evil empire, and everybody's always wanted to rally against them because they seemingly have more money than everybody else. And that seems to be the little man mentality when it always goes up against like Apple or Microsoft or Google. They're always the evil empire. You always got somebody trying to give you some type of variant like Firefox instead of Google. But at the same time, Sony's not no little kid. Sony's a giant, right? Sony's a big one that's making a lot of money just like everybody else. But they're always perceived as the little man. They're always perceived, and they always have that little man swagger to them that everybody wants to rally behind. I think that stuff is changing. As you may notice, like a lot of people talking inside the chats, or they were watching the streams, like Bad Bit said, it's kind of dead silence. Like, what's going on here? What's happening? This is not the Sony that I know.
Right.
All right. And I think that's a lot of new guys. A lot of the older guys got to know that, Sony used to build up to this stuff. This stuff, they were building up to it. And they would use indies in the beginning to bolster their library, and then they'll slide in a AAA banger.
Let Joe rage.
They're sliding a banger here and there, and that'll keep the boat flowing and keep things going. I think at this point in time, a lot of the fan base is seeing certain things being written, seeing certain narratives being backing. And when I say Microsoft, it's no longer just Xbox, buddy. When Pops looks down and takes a interest in what the kid is doing,
yep.
Let me tell you the difference between a parent caring about a kid playing in Little League and he doesn't have potential yet, or he doesn't. Let me see if he cares about it enough. Look at his cleats, look at his gear. Look at everything when he shows up. When his parents want him to prove himself, he's wearing. When that kid shows that he has potential and he's really taking it serious and he's living, eating, breathing, dying for this stuff, look at his gear then.
Yeah.
He's wearing the best gear. He has the best catcher's mitt. He has the best of the best, because you know what? If the parent has cash, the parent is going to back that kid because they want that kid to succeed. You're at a point right now when Microsoft wants Xbox to succeed. So the fear is, and y'all know when they start throwing that money around, they succeed too much and your platform of choice disappears. But if that was Microsoft would have been crucified. The fact that it's Sony, and I'm liking the narrative that's going around now. People are actually talking and actually voicing their displeasure with it, or with what was shown, or in the manner that it was shown. Some people like certain things. Fine. If that's your only console, cool. I would love Deathloop if I only had an Xbox. Only had a PlayStation. But I have an Xbox. I can wait for it to come next year.
Yeah, it's a great point. Joe, before I get to you, brother, I got to thank 3 people. Smitty Smith drops the first super chat of the day of $5. Thanks, Smitty. Appreciate that very much. Salute to the panel and chat, and congratulations, Mr. Badbit, on the new job. You're going to crush it. There you go, Joe.
I hope so.
DJ Birdo, DOS, drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, breakfast with Boom? Bad and King. Yes, indeed. And of course, now Zemi Games. Gerald Mack, generous friend of the show, he drops a $5 super chat. Says, shout out to Mr. Boomstick. All hail the ILP Lord King Damas and Mr. Badbit Zemi. Good day, brothers. Well, good day to you, brother, and hopefully you enjoying the conversation. Joe, let's get your opinion on this.
Yeah.
Just coming off of what King just said.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Oh, okay. I thought you were adding to it. To me, okay. PlayStation's biggest problem right now. First off, look, one bad state of play isn't going to kill him, right?
No,
just like how when we're talking about bad shows, let's remember that Twitch event, Xbox.
You mean the 4-hour indie show?
Yeah,
horrible.
We all make mistakes. So like I don't. So like this isn't like throwing the red flags up. I told you, a few days ago, I'm like, hey, look at like. PlayStation put out a tweet and already people are disappointed, right? Like some people, it's the internet. Some people are bound to be disappointed. Yeah. When it comes to like, the only thing that I've liked from them, what they said was, though Horizon, God of War, that won't be there, those are coming in the summer, right? They're being vague enough with it. Even at that end of state of play, they're like, and we're going to have more updates in a few weeks. Which gives me the illusion of 3 to 4. So cool. That's the only thing that I wish we got more of that. Or just tell me the brass tacks, man. Like just don't. I'm not an idiot, please. That's what I kind of I want PlayStation to celebrate themselves more. I say this. I am jealous of how Xbox's social media is. I constantly say that because they are so good. And I really think like, look, PlayStation has the games that you're going to turn around and look at. And if you're an Xbox fan, that's not a diss. Halo Infinite's my favorite game of the show. Most anticipated game. But like, that Horizon State of Play almost did as good as the Xbox Bethesda Showcase. And that's one game. So when we get very, I guess when we get up in these emotions of like, well, this show is not great. It certainly wasn't. But when PlayStation comes out, genuinely people are looking at them, right? Right. So to me, it's like, yeah, we know you have what it takes. I like what the former creative director of God of War, Chaffee said. He's like, effectively, you have the Rolls Royce of studios. You know that these studios, when they put out a game, it's going to be genuinely received very well. So, it's about how are you presenting those games, though? And I think, again, they're learning it when you see the deep dives of Horizon and Ratchet and Clank, that's what they kind of want from them. But I really just wish, and I think their biggest problem here for me is it is way too it's way too disconnected. Yeah. I love seeing Phil out there talking, Aaron Greenberg talking to the fans. As much crap as I think they get, I think they do it because they genuinely think that is the way to go, and I agree with that. I don't get that same feeling from Jim Dance Moves Ryan. He might be a great dancer, but I don't get that. To me, it's like this is straight up business.
Yes,
it's not even that you have disdain. I just have
the same grab as like an Aaron Greenberg.
It's not what I'm saying. Sony though,
and it's not. It's definitely this new leadership feeling out what they are, and it's kind of obvious that they are. So that's really. Yeah, exactly. And that's what it is. It's growing pains at the end of the day. So, are they in trouble? No, not yet. They're still selling really well. Their games are still doing really well. But
I do believe this is their last console.
Yeah, definitely. It's all in the cloud and stuff like that. So I
honestly believe that they're going to be a developer after this because financially it makes incredible business sense.
Sure. You basically think they're going to go to like the way of Sega.
Yes,
Yeah.
it makes incredible business sense in the sense that, all right, shed the hardware, right? Because we all know that they don't make money off of hardware. We're at a point where we're not ignorant anymore, thinking for everyone that they sell, they actually make $500. No, because they have to put these things together. They have to get the logistics and stuff like that together. Could you imagine a Sony that didn't have to put together hardware and was just actually had their app or putting their games onto other people's services and stuff like that, and all they can actually do is sit there and don't have to worry about hardware, just worry about putting together these AAA bangers, and actually taking that money, because they don't make money off of hardware. So think about how much money that they sinking in research and development, how much money that they're putting into manufacturing, how much time and effort that they're doing when they're going to these places and picking out the chips and doing all this stuff as far as, research and development and everything. And they could just focus on games.
Yeah.
They do.
Well, that's why the cloud
Nintendo
is so attractive, because you don't have to do that. That's why, I definitely think those services are coming. I definitely think they're just going to evolve into apps for now, for sure. But until then, I think what Sony really needs to do is really start having fun with us, man. Start putting out some memes. What do they get? They get all for one. Put out have a dumb video with.
I think I will pass out.
In Sync or some shit. I don't know.
I think I will pass out.
Some 90s, early 2000s. I don't know. I didn't listen to music like that back in the day. Thank God my parents raised me right. And when I was a kid, they just gave me 70s music and the Beatles to listen to. That said,
nothing wrong with the Beatles.
One of those. God, the greatest band ever made. Are you kidding me? So yeah, to me, it's just have fun with your base again.
Yeah.
Don't rely, dude, Insomniac, king of it right now. Their social media team is incredible. Very jealous of them. But do that on your main thing. Your main thing's just an advert. So to me, yeah, that's where my biggest thing is. I'm going in circles here, but yeah.
No. I mean, it's perfect.
Talk to us, man.
So Zemi, before we move on to the again, we're going to be talking about marketing with Sony, because this one took this one took front and center of the conversation right after State of Play, which is very unfortunate. And again, it's one of those instances where this is not what Sony wants. I can assure you of that. What on what King and Bit had to say? Where do you fall with this with Sony so far?
Yeah, I mean, if I don't spend a tremendous amount of time on social media, and from gathering what you guys are talking about, there is a decent bit of outcry for this State of Play. A lot of people were expecting more, right? For me personally, as a casual PlayStation fan who went out, bought a console just for games that I can't get on my Xbox. Just watching the show, I thought it was a good show, right? It wasn't something that, absolutely had me cheering in the background or anything like that, but I did think it was a good show. I think David, hit, the nail on the head when saying, if Xbox had the same show, that, media would be, grabbing their pitchforks and all sorts of things, right? People would be treating this a lot differently, 100%. And that's just, how the cards fall, right? PlayStation is perceived different, publicly than the way that Xbox is. And a lot of that has to do with the last generation, how Xbox handled it versus how PlayStation handled it. And we could have an entire conversation about that. But, it's that's a huge advantage to PlayStation, is that they can do certain things that Xbox just quite frankly can't, and kind of get away with it. As far as, the future of Sony and what they need to do, I think that they are still in a relatively strong position. There definitely needs to be changes made at the company, right? They need to adopt more cloud technology, and they need to improve their game streaming service, and they need to do a lot of things. But as it is right now, I don't think that there is, huge doom and gloom over at Sony. They are selling their consoles fantastically well. They, have been able to produce almost nearly double the amount of consoles that Xbox has. And for Xbox, that's not important because, well, they have, game streaming and they have other avenues to make money, right? But for Sony, that is very, very still to this day, very important to them because, that's really their main way of selling softwares through their hardware, and that they have been able to produce as much hardware and get it out to consumers is impressive, right? King also said something really interesting, and that being, last generation for the PS4, they had a very slow start. They relied on indies a tremendous amount, and it just kind of appears that that's going to be the same way that this generation is going to go. As far as, Sony, this being the last generation of a PlayStation, them potentially going the way of Sega, I think that makes a tremendous business sense. But I could see it happening, and I could also not see it happening, right? I think a lot of that depends on how successful game streaming becomes this generation, right? How many people adopt it? Will internet connections? Will the infrastructure, specifically here in America for internet, be increased so much that it really becomes mainstream? The way that we, the same way that we view movies today on Netflix, we don't quite look at that for games, and there's reason for it, right?
The reason why I give that statement, and I don't use it flippantly. I use it in the terms of they had 120 million or plus 120 million plus PlayStation 4 sold. Not one of their games reached 50% of that market, right? And if they continue to watch the upward trajectory of Game Pass and what Microsoft is doing, and Microsoft had maybe 70 million Xbox sold, right? And if Game Pass can bridge the gap between the console base and active users, then that turns it into an enticing and intriguing prospect. And the only reason why I even approach this concept and these thoughts is because of the person they have in position. The person that they have in position at Sony is 100% a money man. Now, with you saying that they have outsold the PlayStation 4 up until this point, right?
I did not say that.
No, they did. I'm talking about at the time from launch, time base, they have the PlayStation 5 has outsold the PlayStation 4 is their most successful selling system from launch to this date, right? So you take those period of time with the PlayStation 4, let's say the 6 months or whatever it is, same period of time, the PlayStation 5 outsold it, right? Okay. The difference in the philosophies, and everybody was saying, well, they got to make money from somewhere. That's the reason why they're putting it on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. But if this is the most successful console and they have more units out there being sold, then that theory is null and void, right? What it is, it's a great business move in order to sell to this base and sell to your previous base, right? So in knowing that the thought patterns of the person that's in charge is motivated by sales, it only stands to say that they can make more money with reducing headroom by reducing dead weight, which is the console. In my opinion, if I'm the business money dude that's sitting there, because at the end of the day, the Sony name carries cachet and the games carry weight. And if you can reach a market base, then that's utter gold. But that was just my theory in that. And I just didn't think I explained it to you properly.
Sure. I got you. Yeah, and I think a lot of that, whether they go the way of Sega or continue maybe on more of a trajectory of what Xbox is planning on doing, I think a lot of that relies on how much time they have, right? Until what Xbox is doing becomes so mainstream that it really, really, really starts hitting big into, the amount of revenue Sony is able to produce, right? And I don't know how much time really, Sony has to autocorrect and to change their company's trajectory, right? But as of right now, like I said before, I thought that their show was good. This is coming from a casual PlayStation, player, right? But I thought that their show was good. I don't think that there is huge doom and gloom for Sony right now. I think that the clock is ticking. I think that they most certainly have to do certain things, to maintain, being as competitive as they have been these previous generations. The games industry 100% is changing, and if they don't change with it, they will be left behind. But as far as the transparency that that Xbox has, it's incredible, right? And I would love to see that same amount of transparency from Sony, but they're two very different businesses that's operated very, very differently. Phil Spencer, the way that Phil looks at gaming and the way that Jim Ryan looks at gaming are vastly two different things. And that's not saying that, hey, Phil is 100% looking at gaming the correct way and Jim Ryan has no clue. It's just two different mindsets, right? Mm-hmm. And you can succeed regardless, with two different mindsets. Two companies in the same industry can succeed, even with different leadership and different, mindsets of how the industry should be going forward. But, all in all, I thought the show was, pretty good. It wasn't the greatest show ever. It's Sony. They're falling behind a little bit. You can see it. But I don't think, it is at the point where we need to, be shaking our head thinking, oh my God, what is Sony going to do? They're getting destroyed.
You know what? Hold on to that thought just a second, because we're going to segue into what you're saying there's a problem. And if you folks want to keep ignoring it and put your head in the ground, I'm going to sell you a bridge for $1, because this is okay. So we again, I'm all about big picture. When I do these shows, I don't jump on bandwagons. I don't pile on the rabbit. What I do go out of my way to do is go back and bring the information with me to support my claims. And with that said, last Friday through the entire weekend, Sony took a shit with their live on the air for everyone to see by not responding to what that developer said about how indies are being treated at PlayStation, and the gaming media got involved. The other avenues in regards to big developers to small developers got involved and said, "Yeah, there's a problem here." Okay, so you say that's how it starts from Monday. Then you get then on the same day that they do this, in my opinion, very mediocre state of play, we have Sony post an ad on Twitter that showed some, dad, so an older gentleman capping off his day to play some God of War. Typical fare in a lot of these commercials. Xbox does it, Nintendo does it with their rooftop parties. We know the commercials, right? But what was interesting was the upside down PlayStation 5 that could not play the game that he was playing on the TV, right? So after the fans pointed this out, the tweet got deleted with no explanations from Sony. But I want to bring this back. Now, this is going back until last year, December 2020. Herman Holtz, who holds a very high position, he's the Matt Booty of PlayStation, right? Now, we know who he is. He was the head of Guerrilla Games. He brought us his vision, brought us one of my favorite new IPs for Sony. Wow. Apparently, he did the same thing. He confused a lot of people. Does this guy actually play games? Does anybody play games at Sony? I don't know. I don't really know, because he had an upside down PlayStation 5 as well. And it was in his video that he posted, again, December 2020, which immediately was removed at the time and replaced with a version, folks, get ready, that cropped off the offending video game system out of the shot. I mean, listen, I don't know what's going on at Sony. I don't know what's going on with their marketing team. Something's afoot. And we're not going to spend a lot of time on this. King, you're laughing because there's a problem here. Again, I have to keep saying, let's turn the cards here.
Right.
If this is Xbox and they have all of this negative from Monday through all the way this week, one bomb after another, people are calling for Phil's head. Something is up at Sony. My question is, what is it?
Okay. You can chalk it up to we're dealing with this stuff in the pandemic. You can chalk it up to new leadership and they're trying to tweet something out. You can chalk it up to they're trying to hurry stuff up. It was probably a digital version of the game. You know, they probably really don't actually have physical copies inside of their PlayStations. They probably got their PlayStations. They probably got the best model, which was the disc drive model.
Yeah, that's Joe likes that model. It's much nicer looking for sure. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, no, he got the discless model. I got the disc drive
digital
model.
Mm.
He got the digital. I got the one with the disc drive.
Me too. So did I. I went with
because I just don't trust the internet. If I feel like playing a game, I want to have some physical copies there to play my games or whatever. And that's just about it. But and maybe they put their console there and they never righted it. It was always upside down because they get digital codes, they check out their games, they play their games, right? And I mean, this is the common sense of the matter, going down in my head, right? And they're playing that game, and it doesn't matter if it's upside down or if it's digital, right?
Right.
Because you never put a physical game inside. But aesthetics-wise, pay attention to details. The devil's in the details because you give people the carte blanche to run with a different narrative. To say they don't play games. You see, I told you it was all a sham. You see, but he probably does. He probably has an extensive digital library that was afforded to him by Sony.
Yeah,
because
he's worked for them for years. So.
Yeah, why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he have the ability to pull up any digital game from the Sony archives? So, again, I say this. I say it was a Freudian slip. We're just not used to it.
Yeah.
And when we see stuff like this, when we see the show and Sony's not acting like Sony and what's going on, we start to panic. We start to get into these modes and we start to point little things out and we start to look for tea leaves because everybody wants to pick a winner. Everybody wants to jump off the ship right before the iceberg hit. They don't ever want to be the band going down with the ship singing everything is okay. All right. So, yeah. Is everything okay? Yes, everything's okay. I believe that he has digital versions, but at the same time, please, guys, don't get in the uproar. Sega didn't do too bad by going, as a publisher, right? I think Sega's doing really good. I just saw the new Sonic Colors, and it looks phenomenal. And they're gonna get my money.
I bought that also. I'm buying that. I love Sonic Colors. That was dope.
It looked like the best Sonic in a long time. A 3D Sonic. They're gonna get my money. But again, listen, guys, that was funny. It's going to be joked about, and of course, the Xbox community is going to run buck bananas with this. They're gonna go crazy with it. Should they? Yeah. Will it ever happen again? I hope not, because if it happens one more time, 3 times you're toast, right? So. That's how I mean, he got digital stuff.
No, and I think you're right, Joe. Listen, you're a professional marketing manager here, and we love your hot takes. This is something that could be course corrected. There's no doom and gloom for PlayStation. They're the market leader. Real quick, I just want to read something that someone wrote that I thought was very interesting. Just let me find it over here. I should have what do you call it? Okay, you know what? At this point, it doesn't even matter because it was somebody in the chat that said. Microsoft is playing catch up, so Sony can afford to do things like this. Yeah, to some extent, but they still have to be the professional market leaders that we all know and love, right? Like if you listen to BoomStick, I have always praised Sony with their marketing. Mm-hmm. They are the marketing geniuses. What seems like for quite some time. It hasn't been as of late. Joe, what do they need to do to fix this?
Nothing. This is the smallest inconvenience. I don't know who does their marketing at PlayStation. I know Nintendo has a company called Goyolin. I can never pronounce their name. That does their PR and their marketing. So all their ads you've ever seen is another company. And anything even I think the Nintendo Treehouse Live, that's not really them. That's their PR marketing team. They're setting up the sets. So when I take a look at the ad, that's it's the PlayStation on flipped upside down or whatever. It's oh yeah, that's a marketing team and a marketing group that has no idea. And making a dumb mistake. It happens a lot. We've actually when we actually had a whole I wanted to say episode, but class back in the day talking about some of the biggest marketing blunders. This ain't one of them. So to me,
I agree.
To me, to me, it is super small in the grand scheme of things, but it speaks to the fact that this thing's ugly. That's really what it speaks to me. Thing's ugly. Nobody knows what to do with it. Even when it comes that.
I love the disc version. Please stop it.
But even Herman Holst
got a little COVID weight on it. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's got to drop the COVID 20.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, even with the Herman Holst thing, I actually didn't see that thing. Never. I didn't even know until today that was a thing that happened. So I was trying to look it up.
That's why it was funny, Joe, because I'm wow, this is now the second time with this upside down thing. What's that?
And that's how it tells you how big of a deal it is. At least to me, it's because even if we think that's Herman, I don't even know. I don't even need to look at the picture. Whatever. I'm are we really believing that's Herman Holst's house? Okay.
No, that's come on.
Exactly. He walked behind a set.
Yes.
If you take a look at every late night host, right, when they had to do the work from home stuff, most notably Stephen Colbert, he had to do it for a month in his house in North Carolina, and they transitioned to putting a set up in the attic of the Ed Sullivan Theater. Nobody knew that until he said it. Everybody still thought he was in his house because it looked homely. There was a bookshelf and all that crap there. So there was production level there, but it wasn't at that level. So to me, it's just this just screams marketers doing dumb stuff. It happens. It happens way regular than we think it does. And grand scheme of things, nah.
Yeah,
that's it.
I mean, okay, so I agree with you. And closing out Zemi Games, what are your thoughts on this? Again, this is not saying that this blunder with the upside down PlayStation, PlayStation is ruined. No one's saying that. What I'm saying is that they're coming off back to back L's. It started out at the end of last week. The indie development community came out, was very boisterous. Now, has that quieted down? Yes, a little bit. But that does not take away from the fact that yes, it could potentially become a problem. How much of a problem, I don't know. Then of course the very mediocre, state of play, which a lot of people, a lot of fans, a lot of gamers walked away disappointed, asking, "Where's my PlayStation?" And now this. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's two unfortunate things that happened very, very close together, right? They're very much unrelated, right? Sony having negative press come out from their indie devs versus a marketing error and a promotion are not connected whatsoever. It's just unfortunate that these two things happen side by side. As far as marketing mistakes go, as Joe very kindly presented to us, this is way low on the list, right? I mean, out of all the things that could have went wrong, I'm sure some people in their marketing team are kind of okay with, not okay, but are kind of happy that it was this and not a million other things that could have went wrong. This isn't, a absolutely huge mistake. Is it embarrassing? Yes. Should it have happened? Absolutely not. But, I mean, I'll be honest with you, man. I had to go look up a YouTube video to figure out how to put this stand on the bottom of my PlayStation.
Yeah, I'm like, that's the biggest thing. I need a screwdriver. What is the The stand sucks. You try to hold it
stand is not good. No,
horizontally. You move it a goddamn inch, it's just falling. It's like there's way worse things than like showing it upside down. That stand is atrocious, and you just triggered me.
King, what is that? Oh, that's a screwdriver. There it is.
And
no, King, bad.
No, everybody else has already said it. My PS5 has the disc is the disc version as well. Not because I wanted it, but because it was the only thing available at the time. I would have preferred the discless version, but I had to go look up a YouTube video. and I'll say right now, I mean, I'm a marketer as well, right? And so I can understand how that error came up. I was reading some articles, and apparently a lot of consumers have had issues setting it on their side upside down accidentally, right? And realistically, it's probably some production assistant on stage staging this type of stuff, right? He probably had no idea that he did it the wrong way, of course, right? This is happening, during COVID. Things are getting a lot better. A lot of restrictions are still lifting, but there's still, that's still in the background of a lot of people's minds. I can see how this mistake happened, right? It's not the biggest mistake that's ever happened. For a lot of people that would look at that ad, they probably wouldn't even notice that the PlayStation was upside down. For us more attentive gamers, we absolutely noticed it, right? A big reason,
we did the Leo meme. We were like,
a big reason why they probably decided to pull down the ad. Well, I mean, first, it's embarrassing, right? They made a mistake for their own console. They're the last people that should be making this mistake, but yet they made it, right? So it is embarrassing. But there's also, I think you can make the argument that there's potential legal liabilities, there as well. In the sense that, well, what if a bunch of consumers see this ad, see how it's staged, buy, the console, set it up that way, and the console gets harmed in some way, right? I think that you could probably make the legal, argument in a courtroom that, hey, Sony set it up this way, so you should obviously be able to, play it that way, right? And so, for a lawsuit, that could potentially hurt Sony. I can see a lot of reasons why they would take down the ad. I don't think it is a huge issue. And looking at the ad from a marketing perspective, like, I thought that the ad was actually pretty fantastic beyond that small, minor mistake. They had the tone of that ad perfectly. It matched their brand, the Sony brand archetype so well, that being the magician. Fantastic ad. The only issue is that the PlayStation was upside down. That was the big problem here. But overall, other than that, I thought the ad looked great, and so on and so forth. It's unfortunate. It happens to all companies. It's unfortunate that it happens so close to the bad press that's coming out, from the indie devs, and from what sounds like an underwhelming show.
Honestly, that indie stuff is way more damaging than I saw a console upside down.
Yeah, absolutely.
That has actual repercussions. Like, that is something that is troublesome. And I love what a lot of people have echoed, which is like, some of my indie friends going, they're all not great, but there's a special problem here. When it comes to indies on PlayStation,
I just believe it's how the store's set up. And,
that's true. Yeah, same. And I think it's embedded, and that's the thing that sucks. Yeah. So that is such a bigger issue.
Well,
and I'm
the human
against
the resource department is a separate problem within itself, but then how the stuff is displayed in the store is a separate problem within itself. So you have multiple problems stacking on each other that's combining into one big problem. My only problem with that whole thing is when a customer, because the developers are customers, right? Because they're paying you, and then they're putting their wares on your storefront, and they're hoping to be, have stuff sold. I guess partners in a sense, but they're paying partners. Excuse me. when a paying partner spends $24,000, I don't care how large, I don't care how small they are, that money should be valued, and it should be things in place that afford them some type of security in feeling that their stuff is going to be seen in the proper light, at least for a duration, a period of time. Don't just throw it in the bunch and just let it just, twirl in iniquities inside your gaming store. That should never happen. And for them to repeatedly ask for help, and for it to fall on deaf ears, it fell on deaf ears when the check cashed. You understand?
Yeah.
So when my money is deposited, please at the same time respect me and my money, and respect my game and my hard work. It just feels like it was a lack of respect there in that area. And it's probably not. It's just probably a logistical situation where they can't get the proper person over to you at this time, or something. Something is not being done properly. But yeah, listen, you have enough money to get a group together to manage this area, to work on this area, because these indies are our lifeblood when it comes to us in video games. These indie developers are the ones that keep us going, because without them growing and becoming fantastic to become Konamis and Capcoms and all that other stuff, we won't have these people here. So if they die out here, or if they get disgruntled and decide to go get office jobs some damn place, who loses? We all do, right? And it takes that one moment where you crush somebody's dream, because maybe it's their last bread, and they're trying to stretch it. They're trying to make their dream happen. We had a couple of developers on the Iron Lord show, and they had the same issue, and it's disheartening and I know what they went through to get their game there, so just show it in the proper light. I don't care if it's for 2 weeks or a day or something like that, but let's try to do better by these indies. Let's try to get them.
It's funny.
There's a follow feature.
Oh shit, Cloud, you're here. What's up, man? What's going on?
What's good? No, they had that follow feature on the store, and I remember we all thought the follow feature was going to solve that issue. Remember that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, that doesn't do anything. All you do is get like small tweets or something like that from the developer. You don't really get much from the game, and especially the wish list feature as well. Like gifting hasn't even been added to the system, but it's like you have a wish list. Even with the wish list, you still got to have find the game to put it on the wish list. And these games don't even get advertised as much on the store. The only things that really get advertised, and this is cool, this is not even something you can like rebuttal, because it's true, because it's mostly the first party and like the big AAA third party. Those are the main ones you see featured on the far left. Everything else you have to legit find and go through that store. It's
not a good setup. The only thing that's good about it is that it's fast.
Yeah, they want for style over substance. That's what they want for.
Absolutely. Yeah. And when you have devs straight up saying, yeah, we put our stuff on Switch and PC first, and then we try PlayStation. Like that's a wow. That speaks volumes to what
considering
is
that problem. Considering that Sony has so many consoles out in the market, you would imagine that, hey, listen, again, when you I mean, PC obviously has more. PC is the main crux of a lot of these the lifeblood for a lot of these smaller devs, because there's so many people with PCs. But you know what? I don't want to spend too much time on this, because we are an hour and 20 minutes in. But I want to segue into what the thumbnail was about, and that is to talk about Neon Giant's incredible title that's releasing at the end of the month, July 29th, The Ascent. And, listen, folks, when you talk about indies, you talk about small development teams, right? You just never know what they're going to bring to the table, right? Now, if I were to sit here and tell you that what we saw last month on at the IGN First, where they show 12 minutes of actual gameplay for The Ascent. If you looked at that, if you watched it, and if you didn't, I'm going to put it in the show notes so you can take a look at it. Not that I'm promoting IGN, because you know how I feel about them. I want to promote I want to promote Neon Giant. This is a team that deserves it. If you looked at that game, you would be like, this is a 100-man studio. I can't wait to support this $70 or $60 game on Xbox, because that's what it is, folks. It's an Xbox exclusive. And what comes into the question is, why did they choose Xbox? Why didn't they go to the market leader at PlayStation? Well, we don't really know that. And I don't think they're really talking about it, which is fine. But whatever it was, whatever they saw in Chris Charla, who is the head of ID at Xbox, they worked out a deal. This is an exclusive. From what I understand and I looked into it extensively, there's no talk of any other platform outside of PC and, of course, Xbox and Game Pass, obviously, day and date. Folks, if you didn't know, if you're unfamiliar with what I'm talking about, I don't know how you could be, but if you are, The Ascent is an almost top-down 2.5D shooter that can be played either solo, which is dope, or, of course, up to 3 friends for a total of 4 people playing co-op. As one of the playable characters, you're tasked in making your way through hordes of enemies in a very cyberpunk-esque, neon-lit, futuristic cityscape, and it's a loot game. If you like loot, this may be for you. Now, The Ascent is obviously being developed by Neon Giant, befitting a name such as a neon-based type of styled game. Folks, 15 people made this game. Look at what you're seeing on the screen. I don't have it here. I could throw it up, but I don't want to get copyright claimed by IGN, so I'm not going to do it. But I got to break down how these 15 developers. Now, these are veterans from games like Gears of War and the Wolfenstein franchise, among others. And this is a very dedicated group to their craft. This game may be indie in size in regards to its team. I am telling you, if you missed out on that 12-minute footage, you got to go check it out, because it should sell you on this game. And more importantly, if you have Xbox Game Pass, you don't have to actually pay it. Now, would I buy this game? Absolutely, no questions asked, because I want to support Neon Giant. This is and if you Curve Digital is doing the publishing with this, and Curve does some great stuff. They get some great indies. The graphics are going to be 60 FPS, and it's going to be running on the Series X, and they're going to be supporting both 4K and the 60 FPS modes. King, I want to go to you first on this. This is one of those games that I like to consider the gems in the crown that is currently sitting upon Phil, Dominus, Maximus, Aurelia Spencer. And it's one of those games that you will look over if you are a PlayStation guy or gal. And if you have one of the, these $5,000 rigs, good on you. You can play it there. What you're not going to play it on is PlayStation. And that's something to be said to the conversation, because Sony has done this. Sony has, gotten games that launched on their console that they either kept exclusive or kept exclusive for a long time in the indie community that have been fantastic. And Microsoft appears to have one of those games with The Ascent. How excited are you to play this on July 29th?
Oh, I'm super ecstatic. When it was shown last year in May, I believe, at the May show.
Yeah, the May show, May 7th. Yep.
It was one of my games that I was looking forward to. And, this COVID thing pushed everything back and all the way around and upside down. And we finally got a date on it. I think it was this last show. And see a little bit more of it. I don't really like to do deep dives into games, to be honest with you. Show me quick takes.
Well, because you don't want to be disappointed. You want to experience it for yourself, basically.
Right. Yeah. I like the exploration of games. I like the wonder of games. I do these shows because I like to bring information to people. I like to be, boots on the ground. If you can't make it, if you're in a wheelchair, or if your bed's sticking, or you're at work, or whatever the hell, I want to be your eyes, your ears, your nose. I want to be the person that can tell you exactly what's going on and how the game is running and stuff like that. So me doing that, I'm doing that for the love of you guys. But for myself, I like to be intrigued by the game and then surprised when I get it. But this game, I looked at it a little bit more. I saw the stuff that I love from it. I love games that can pack a ton of detail in into these little guys moving on the screen, and you know it's every time you play it, it's going to be something different that you're going to find. The graphics reminds me of a Mobius art work, and I'm a fool for Mobius artwork, but with the neon stuff to it, it just lent to it. The art style talked to me. I saw the particle effects that was on the screen. Then when I saw that you can play with more of your friends, that added to it. So I'm like, I can get my friends together. And then the fact that it was in Game Pass. I mean, that's the icing on the cake, because if somebody ever looks at me and look at my timeline, and what's King's playing right now? If you don't have the game, pretty much 9 times out of 10, you can download the game and jump in the game with me. Or you can jump in my party and just be like, yo, how is that? Or whatever. Oh, it's pretty good. Or it's not. You know, I'm gonna keep it real with you. But I'm super enthusiastic about the game. I really can't wait until the 29th so I can just sink my teeth into the game and play the game. And if anybody's playing and you know, we're friends on Xbox, join in. Now, as far as it being exclusive, all fair in love and war. You know? Don't cry when it's done on their side, because that's how business is done. And you know, we won't cry when it's done on our side.
Well, no, we're all multi. Yeah,
everybody.
So if it's on one, we're just going to get it there.
Yeah, but if it's in the ecosystem, then they don't have it, you know. And I've noticed this a lot. People putting up petitions and stuff like that. Save your energy. Save your time. This is how war is, right? And go out and purchase the other console, right? And don't be a slave to the plastic, because the plastic is not a slave to you. Trust me when I'm telling you this here. And if you see something over there, and this is one of those somethings that Boom is talking about, because if you haven't seen it yet, this is one of those somethings. If you're a looter shooter guy and you like playing with your friends, this might be right up your alley.
This is Screams Joe, Mr. Badbit, and Zemi Games for that matter as well.
We should all get a stream together and get to playing.
Oh, dude, I'm down for that. I don't care who streams it. I'll be down to play.
Yeah, I'm fun to just jump in. I'm not streaming it, but I'll jump in with you.
Real talk. This is a game that I've been looking forward to since I've seen it. This is gonna be me. Yeah, like gang. Let's team up. Let's do stuff. This is also like a me, Luke, or Frank Kev type of game. Like we're in on this.
Luke Lore, your best friend, by the way.
Yes.
Let's not. That's a word. But honestly, like this game looks really dope, and whether it's an exclusive, time exclusive, I don't care. It's on Game Pass, and you know what? If it is time exclusive, it comes as PlayStation eventually. I'll buy it there too, because honestly, I want to support these guys and gals over there.
Me too.
This game looks absolutely magnificent, and I would say, you know what? If I could get a little crazy, take my top off for a sec. These guys, Xbox, throw some money at this little team over here, because honestly, they give me kind of Housemarque vibes.
They really do. That's a great comparison.
Yeah, like I'm taking a look at, like, this kind of gives me like Alienation type of vibes here, but like cyberpunk-esque. The thing that I am just blown away by is the attention to detail. Like, I'm looking at these explosions right now, seeing all the particle effects that are on screen is stellar. Like, even when you're customizing your outfit, this is an isometric game. They don't really need to go out and do all the, they don't need to go out there and make all the shaders and all these textured images. But like, you zoom in on what gun you're crafting or armor you're putting on your person, and it just looks unreal. The lighting as well, what they're playing with.
Explosions, especially like that big dome explosion that comes over. It's crazy.
There's even one I loved. This is from a few months back. It was just like a doof, like it was just like a air like just burst, and you just see the cloud of smoke just dissipate in a circular motion. It looks incredible. I am so pumped for this game. This game looks. I'm looking at it right now. Like, this game looks 110% my level, man. Like, they're my game. Like, this is it. July 29th. Let's go. A lot of great indie games, by the way, coming out this month. This one being the one I am most interested in for sure.
I think the real crux of the conversation is 15 people made this game. Like this,
Yeah.
I mean,
15 people
you
made
surprised?
this
Look
game.
at Bright Memory. One person made that.
Yeah,
Everybody
something
did that
just
in
to show the
Bitmarks.
new trailer with that. Again, listen, that's not winning any game awards, but I am going to tell you, Big Cloud, you're onto something with that.
Yeah.
One kid, a high school kid,
Drop
by
out.
the way, who dropped out from high school to finish making this game.
Drop out.
Go figure. I mean, it's bananas. But Big Cloud, before I get to you, Zemi Games, this is something that we've talked about on the Xbox Factor podcast for what seems like since we've seen it in May.
Several times.
This screams Zemi Games in a big way because obviously you love Cyberpunk. And this is in the Cyberpunk world. Where is your excitement levels for July 29th?
You know, am I excited for it? Sure, absolutely, I am. I would be lying if I said I was as excited as you know, David, you, and Joe right now, right? This game, you know, everything, you know, about the game resonates to me. Besides one thing, and that is the perspective. I'm not really the you know, biggest fan of like the isometric, you know, point of view. And you know, I'm not going to let that, you know, 100% dissuade me from playing the game. I already clicked like the little install button on my Xbox. I don't think it actually installed really anything, but I do plan on having the game installed, you know, day and date. And I'll be jumping into it, giving it the old college effort, and hopefully I can get past the you know, the perspective issue that I have with the game. But other than that, I think the game looks fantastic, right? I think that, you know, the characters, the classes, that type of stuff looks fantastic. The cutscenes look absolutely incredible, and the story that they're looking to tell seems really, really intriguing, and it's really caught my eye. The gameplay, you know, I think looks great. You know, the feature of having a cover and this type of game, you know, I could be mistaken, but I don't think has ever been done before. I love, you know, new features being added to genres that have never been present there before. So you know, everything about this game, you know, from the setting, the story, everything, right, has caught my eye, has got me wanting to play it. The one thing that doesn't, and it's you know, for previous games, it's been a huge deal breaker for me. Like for instance, Diablo. It's been a huge deal breaker for wanting, you know, for getting me to even want to play Diablo. It's the perspective. I'm not the biggest fan of that. But other than that, hey, if you three guys want to jump in, you know, and play the game on launch, I'm game. I'll be logged in.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree there. Big Cloud, let's get your opinion on this. Again, this is what I love about the story with Neon Giant is besides the team size being only 15, besides them immediately resonating with ID at Xbox. This is something Xbox jumped on to support. They saw this game. They're like, holy crap, this is something special. And we've seen Sony do that numerous times. I mean, listen, I don't know how many people here enjoyed Fall Guys. That was my game, bro.
It was good for a month.
I put hours into running around, and I actually won several times and lost just by that one little thing. And I couldn't stop playing it. I honestly, that's one of those games I cannot wait to come to Xbox because as many trophies I got, I like to get the achievements. So I'll definitely be playing that. This is something special here. This is, again, Joe said something very interesting. This is very Housemarque-esque.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened to Housemarque recently? Well, it took a bit, and it should have been first party already, but Sony course corrected and made that team.
I got a theory.
Made that team first party, and they deserve it in spades. This is a team that, I mean, it just fills every checkbox for Microsoft of what we want as an acquisition.
Yes.
Small, it's an outside studio outside of the US. It's, you know, it's a talented team. It's an IP that
where are they located?
You know what? That's a great question. I'll
like
look that up.
Sweden or Norway.
Yeah, I think they're in Norway. Yeah, I think they're in Norway.
It checks all the boxes for what would be considered one of those acquisitions for Microsoft, and the IP itself man, it could have some long legs. What are your thoughts on that, Big Cloud?
So, I mean, again, if you want to go back just off of indies alone, we had Cuphead, made by a small team of 3, which won many awards. You go back to was a Bright Memory. Bright Memory is used as a benchmark now, and that was made by one person, college, high school dropouts. And we keep bringing it up. Now we go to here. Now this has potential to be even bigger for them, especially with a team of 15. The thing is, I'm looking at the long-term scope of a team like that, especially if Microsoft purchased them. Because remember, it's only 15 people right now.
Right.
And they gave you what you guys do. You see here. Imagine them with a full-fledged team and true backing behind the project. That's the potential here.
Or imagine that same 15 with the Unreal Engine 5.
There you go. Like there's a lot of possibilities there with teams like that. And that's what's good. It looks good. And you said, do you think it's going to win Game of the Year? Honestly, there's always this weird disconnect with people with indies. They go, oh, indies are not really, worthwhile, right? They'll focus on the AAA bangers.
Yep.
It's games like this that changes perspective like that. It really, really does. Like, for example, one of my favorite games was Dust and the Legion Tale.
Yeah, dude, that was
really,
one
really
man
good.
made that game.
Yeah.
PS, by the way, I loved it so much. I played it on multiple platforms.
One of the biggest games that's out right now and is still doing ridiculously well is Rocket League.
Yeah.
Game, yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? There's potential in that, and you've seen it even with Minecraft. So again, there are a lot of possibilities with studios like this, and it would be cool to see them purchase them just to see, just to add more variety. Because again, that's what Microsoft's focusing on, variety in their first party. So it would make sense to buy them.
Well, it's funny in the thumbnail, and I'm glad you brought that up. Could this be one of those games that wins Game of the Year? Now, I kind of want to just go through the why I think that is, because if you look at Hades, right? Hades won Game of the Year. Now, not from every outlet, right? But most of us. But the one outlet that is looked upon as the standard, whether you like the guy or not, is Jeff Keighley's end of the year December awards, right? Now, again, maybe you don't like Jeff. I hear you. You know what I mean? Like I said, I don't agree with everything that he's done, but I've said it before and I'll say it again. He is an important cog for this industry. I'm gonna tell you that right freaking now, because he loves gaming. Yeah, he loves Sony. Okay, I love Xbox. So what? Whatever, right? Get over it. But he's important, and his event is looked upon by millions of people as the standard, right? And I say standard, may not be your standard. I hear you, but it's the industry's standard for what we look at as the big Game of the Year show, right? And we saw Hades come out of nowhere, right? Small team, very similar, right? When you first saw Hades, people were like, yeah, it looks really interesting, right? I'm going to get behind this game. And then people started playing it and were like, holy cow, this is something special. I got a feeling that is going to happen with this game. Sure, we've seen some vid docs. Sure, we've heard interviews. Sure, we have seen the 12-minute footage. But we, the gamers that make the industry move, have yet to get hands on it. And I think when we do, this is going to be one of those games that are going to generate a significant amount of buzz. Now, before I get everyone's opinion on how true that is, I really do got to catch up on Super Chats. My God, the generosity is just not to be believed. Skywalker the Jedi, welcome to the show, brother. He drops a $5 Super Chat and says, shout out to the panel and salute to King. I got a fresh bag of knees for you for you waiting to be collected. Indeed. Good friend of the show, Lord Roughness, who is always tweeting out when I go do these shows live. Big shout out to you, Lord Roughness. He drops a $5 Super Chat and says, hey, Boom and panel, Sony needs Horizon Forbidden West to launch 2021. And I agree. I hope they do. And please, can we have a collector's edition to go right next to my other collector's edition of Horizon Zero Dawn? I'd love that. He says, no launch plus all the bad moves they have made this year would be a huge L. You know what's funny? The event in August, again, rumored event, I think that has to be, in my opinion, we're not going to talk about that now, but I think we have to get the release date. If it's next year, just be forthcoming with us. Don't string me along. Let me know it's coming when it's coming. If it's coming this year, I say that's fantastic. That's good for Boom because Boom loves that franchise. Lucius Augustus drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, salute to Lord King. How is it that we still don't have an NVMe expansion and it's July? Media ignores this while asking if Game Pass is viable. Yeah,
I don't.
Well,
that's embarrassing, and I hate it. I hate it so very much.
They want the cheaper route this particular rate. And the thing is, this is the most time, like Bad Bitch doing with the wrist. That's the most time consuming one, especially with these newer.
Come on.
Come on.
Forever.
I said this when they launched and they didn't have a solution, and they told you to wait. I told you it'll be next year, July, and you still wouldn't have it. And everybody laughed at me, King, you're crazy, you're out of control. Listen.
I'll tell you what they do have at Sony, a bunch of ears.
Yeah,
a lot of ears.
It overheats the box.
Yeah.
So
those
you're
things
not
get
going
hot.
to get it until they find a solution that you can put it in. It ain't gonna work. It is completely disabled, and it's disabled on their end and yours.
Yes.
So if you find a workaround, you will brick your console.
You will break your. Don't please, whatever you do. If you trust me on anything, don't do it. You're going to ruin your PlayStation 5 and you won't be able to get another one because, goddamn it, you still can't find them.
The PS5 won't even let you go to the menu when you install it. It won't. Like, it's like a safety precaution. They knew they had to test all this stuff out. That's why they're having these stealth patches for PS5 just when they're ready. But right now, they're not ready. And these high performance SSDs that we've been seeing, especially in PC, everybody's gonna be looking at those, the casuals, but
they're expensive, folks.
Memory,
SSD memory is 500
expensive.
Remember
500 gigs like $700.
Remember when it was $299 or $219 or whatever, because the scalpers was selling it, and people was out. I'm not gonna pay that much for a memory card. You gotta be crazy. It's not a memory card. It's SSD. But at the same time, they had a solution for you available, and they told you it's going to be expensive. I don't think Sony is trying to duck around the expensive part of it. I really believe that it's a heat issue. And they do not. What's worse for the consumer? For you to get something and your console is turning off because they have internals in there that will shut it down, right? If it gets too hot. And it happened to me on my Xbox Series, not Series X, my Xbox One X. It would overheat, it would shut down. And I'll say, what the hell just happened?
Yeah, or a game will suddenly crash.
It would just shut off and just go to boot menu. Like, what the hell?
Like a hard reset.
They don't allow it to happen. They won't allow it. They learned it from past consoles. These consoles is very smart, and they just don't want the issues, man. It's coming. It's coming. Trust, it's coming, but it's gonna be expensive, boys.
Yeah, a lot of people were complaining about the Xbox, proprietary, because it gets super hot on the back of the system. They're like, this thing is burning. Here's the thing about that, though. That should give you an example of what's going on internally with PS5 when you put that in. Because remember, PS5 has like a separate little spot, like a little section for that, and it's like, it's closed off. The back of your Xbox is kind of, you have ventilation. This
ventilation is there.
Yeah. Yeah. This one it's getting close. So
it's July. Listen, I understand the world that is. No, I get it. Like I understand the world situation, global panorama. I understand Japan. It's hurt. Japan, it's hurt definitely when it comes to development.
Japan
that's where
more than just about anybody. Yep.
Yeah, that's where the hardware division is. I get it. Blah 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 blah. You said summer. We're gonna get into mid-July. It's ticking. And I don't have patience, because you know what? And I've been saying it. It's the unpopular opinion, but honestly, I'm angry. I'm heated. I'm going to say it. They both gypped you on memory, but at least Xbox has a solution for you. Yeah. At the very least, I am tired every single week. Yeah. I'm telling you, every week, I'm deciding what stays, what goes. I'm tired of it.
Yeah, I'm tired. Listen, I don't think they cheaped out on you on the memory financially. To put a larger, SSD inside those boxes, it's not financially feasible to do so. They did what was cost effective. I mean, listen, if you wanted to pay $800
right now.
If you want to pay yeah, but you didn't want to pay $800, $900
exactly. You want to pay $700,
right? You know, it wasn't going to be $7. It was going to be $8, $9. All right, you put a terabyte in there, you $8, $9. Okay, and you don't want that to be that's not the price tag that's going to move anything. Yeah. And you know, and then when the scalpers get a hold of you,
oh yeah, now you're paying $2,000.
Just give it up. You're playing King David prices. Give it up. So, yeah, man. Listen, 500. We're cool until the prices cool down, and we're, like I said, this pandemic is really running havoc on our chipsets and stuff like that. And soon those prices, you see the video card prices are dropping, right?
Which is good.
Yeah, we're getting to that point where okay, it's starting to open up. We're gonna start to breathe a little bit better. It's coming, guys. We waited this long. It's coming.
Oh yeah, there needs to be better measures in place to even combat stupid stuff like that whole capture things like that. All that stuff should have been ready to go, but that didn't do nothing. So it's like they didn't do anything for it.
Well, I mean, again, only time is going to tell. But let me just continue with the super chats, and we're going to get everybody out of here because we are a quarter to the end of the show. Yes, Isma Easy. Oh no, hold on a sec. Sin Vendetta, good friend of the show. He drops a $5 super chat. Says, "Man, I wanted a digital PlayStation 5 over the physical, but I couldn't find one because Sony severely under manufactured that version of the PlayStation 5. Yeah, there's no doubt about it.
They called it crazy for that.
Yeah,
there was for every 10, there was like only one digital.
Yeah, everywhere that I went to look for one, it was everyone wanted. And it's funny because I mean, listen, I think that like Zemi's case, he got what he got because you still can't find these things, and if you can find one, regardless of maybe it's not the one you really want, it's still a PlayStation 5. So
they should have over manufactured the digital one to make more money off of their store. Does business sense? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was just production with the
I would have manufactured none of those.
I think they were trying to chase the bag heavy with that $70. They really were.
You're doing the same thing digital though.
I know.
So it doesn't really matter, but you get more money when you're doing digital.
I think it was social media played a big factor in that too. Remember how everybody voiced their opinions for they quote unquote buy their stuff physically, they collect stuff.
Yeah,
so that's probably what they did it for too, though. That's another.
I mean, I have no idea of cost or anything like that, but maybe regardless of which version sells, PlayStation's losing more, is losing money. But maybe with the one that includes the disc drive, they're losing less money, and that's the way. That's
kind of strange, right?
Take that route.
Yeah.
That's kind of strange. You would think they would lose more money.
It'd be the other way around.
Yeah,
isn't it the same hardware regardless? Like the only difference
is it's literally the same
drive and the other one doesn't.
Drive, yeah.
Because I would imagine that disc drive is costing them $100, right?
Especially when they're proprietary owners of it.
They're going to lose less money on that sale versus a digital console.
It's kind of weird. I don't know. I would love to sit in a room and just pick their brains off of this stuff.
Yeah.
What we would give to be a fly on the wall just to hear what's going on.
No, I want to be there. I want to ask questions.
he wants to see the table. He wants a seat at the table. But listen, Isma Easy drops a very Isma Easy drops a $5 super chat. Says, I don't see Sony as the market leader anymore. Game Pass is the market leader. No wonder why it's growing so fast. It's just took time to forget about your ex. I suppose. I mean, listen, look, all I can tell you is that for one company, it's hardware, which is Sony. For Microsoft, it's services, and that is Game Pass, and Game Pass is they're going to by the end of the year. And this could be a coming announcement even at the Game Awards that they have over 30 million subscribers, and it's going to hit that if it remains based on the 1 million per month that they are averaging. And I think with games like The Ascent, games like Scorn, games like Halo and Forza, people are going to be driven to this service because the value proposition cannot be denied. Drawn TJ drops a $5 super chat. Says Sony is looking pretty bad right now. No first-party games at their show. They had to beg the indie developers to show up. and that's a sad big L. Yeah, well, I don't know if they begged, but after what happened last week with the indie community, it does look pretty crummy that they used the indies as a crutch for yesterday's show.
They ain't begging. If a major corporation who has one of the most popular, direct way to reach a consumer goes, hey, you want to be on our show? I'm dropping everything. At the same exact time, that those shows, guys, it's not like it's made in a weekend.
Thank you.
These shows are made 6 months at least 6 months in advance. Yeah. So
and these guys have marketing deals, and they have deals with these dudes, and they let them know that they're going to be on the showcase. So don't think, just because what happened the week before, this is please, we need you. No, that is not the case. This was way in advance, and it's just listen, unfortunate. Hindsight is 2020. We can perceive anything how we want to, but we just here to give you the facts, guys. No, this show is already produced, ready to get done. They were just looking for a time slot to put it in. That's it.
Yep. Yeah. Pretty much.
Isma Easy drops an additional $5 super chat and says, and I am sorry, but all of the lies Sony's made since the start of this gen, come on. We're halfway through summer and still no G-damn SSD. This is a joke, preach king. Elemental PO drops a $5 super chat, generous from the show. He says, the Ascent can be characterized by one word. Detail, and more detail. Yes. Damn, this game looks so detailed, and it looks like a fun co-op game. Indeed, I can't wait to play co-op with that. Spooky Sprocket, generous friend of the show, he drops an $8 super chat. Hey, man, welcome from the U.S. He is all the way from Australia, and he's working the overnight shift right now as we speak, and he's lurking. Just wanted to wish y'all a great show. Appreciate y'all. Well, thanks for being here, brother, and I hope that this passes some of the time for you. On that, listen, I hated working midnights. I only did it for overtime. I usually was a day tour guy when I worked in the NYPD, but I did work every overtime at midnight for the extra bucks. I'm not going to sit there and lie to you. Dan the Man Cunningham, good friend of the show, he drops an outstanding $5 and says, hey, Boom and crew, listening from work, the talk of the indie developers made me really think of the behemoth with Castle Crashers, etc. Yeah, that was a big game on the Xbox 360. I mean, it's everywhere now, but it launched there, and that did killer numbers for. As a matter of fact, that launched in Summer of Arcade. And I'm going to tell you this right now. I've talked about this on the Xbox Factor a dozen times. The Summer of Arcade, my favorite time in Xbox gaming. Some of my most favorite indie games found life there that Microsoft, and I'm so mad they pulled that program. Like, I wish it would come back in a big way and highlight, one game per week for that month of whatever, you get 4 new games in July, you get 4 new games, in August, maybe even do it in June. Give us a block, give us a 3-month block of 12 new indie games, and that's a great way to promote them, right? To push them up to, hey, listen, check out this game. Now, we wouldn't be buying them if you had Game Pass, but it would still be awesome. And Rondella 511, I think it is. Drops a very generous $5 super chat. I wonder how much Sony charged the indie devs to be on State of Play. LOL, can't put past them. I don't know. That's
not how that goes.
That's not how that goes.
Okay, so all right.
They look at what games are close to completion, and then they do the quality control. And what games is a little bit pleasing to the eye, and they find their niche. It's all due to marketing, and then they get selected. They let them know that they were selected. It's a different thing.
They select them. That's what Shu goes and does. That's his job. That's his job. That's his job, essentially.
The best of the best,
What game looks best for the PlayStation brand? That's what gets actually some indies aggravated. It's like they don't know what game looks. They
don't know the criteria. They want to know what's. That's the crux of the problem, because they don't give them the how to and stuff.
There's no guideline.
They don't give them no guide. Like, hey guys, we want this style of game. No, they just say create what you want, and then hey, we'll let you know.
In that vagueness, it's genius, because then you have them making everything instead of making okay, well, they be looking for shooters. You understand what I'm saying?
Or platformers or this,
right?
Yeah.
Well, listen, folks, this has been a fantastic. First of all, we started with 3. We're ending with 5. Absolutely love everyone here.
We multiply, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. This
Like
has been a great
gremlin.
show. I want to thank everybody that came out. We had over 400 people here on a Friday morning. It was pissing rain here before.
Yeah.
Now, thankfully, it cleared up a little bit. I'm definitely going to be enjoying my Friday night with Mrs. Boom. We're ordering out. We don't do it often. We're going to get a nice Italian dinner tonight.
Ooh,
and we're going to be watching, of course, which I pay for premium because, I'm like King. I'm not like King. I'm like an underling to King. When we talk about premium. I'm watching Black Widow tonight.
Hell yes, dude.
I'll be doing that tomorrow.
I can't wait for Black Widow. And supposedly... Tonight. And listen, I okay, let me just reel it back. Folks, please. If you're an MCU horror master like me, right? If you did not see the What If trailer yesterday,
oh my god!
I
was not expecting that twist with Tony. I was not.
Dude,
I was not expecting.
They change up so much stuff, and because it's animated, they can go crazy. First of all, if you didn't know, which is gonna it brought a tear to my eye because I love Chadwick Boseman. Like that's a man I could say confidently that I loved. As an actor, as a human being, loved that man. No problem saying it.
Love that fucking role too. Yeah, I'm sorry, freaking role.
His voice in there. He recorded it before
he did all his stuff before he passed.
Yep.
So me too. I'm getting goosebumps, dude. Like I'm getting straight up goosebumps. If you missed it, I know it's not a movie show podcast. Please go watch that. They showed Peter with the cloak of levitation, right out of the comics, bro.
No, I was happy when I saw Ultron. What if Ultron won?
Ultron had the Infinity Stones in his chest. It could be another 2 hours. Stop it, bro.
I cannot wait. You guys really don't. I'm getting goosebumps right now.
They literally slapped Capcom in the face with that one little reveal with Ultron because it was Ultron Sigma and Marvel's Capcom, and it's like, Ultron has him. It's like.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It's gonna August 11th, the first one. I believe it's gonna be Captain America that launches with it, where they're gonna show Captain Britain, aka Miss Carter. Agent Carter. So
she looked awesome in that too. She looked
jacked. Which, by the way, if you look, if you're a comic nut like I am, dude, you took she's using the Ebony Blade, bro. Like, come on, get out of here. I can't. You know what? I may have to do a movie podcast.
Oh my god, I got goosebumps. Boom, stop it.
Anyway, listen, folks, listen. Thanks so much for coming out. I hope this starts your weekend in the best way. Again, it's summertime. Try and stay cool. Oh, watch, I'm gonna drop kick that guy.
And then you killed yourself.
I killed myself. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's unbelievable. But listen, Ray Blade drops a very generous $5 super chat. Says, hello, I just got on. Sorry, was late. Are you done? Yeah, we're wrapping up. But just, it's going to be going up on video on demand. So let's start with the guests. And we'll start with King David. King David, look, all jokes aside, we're brothers. We're family. Yes. People don't understand how close we are, that we talk outside of podcasting. But I have to say publicly that I could not be more proud of a man, a group of men, and an entity like the Iron Lord podcast. And I'm getting goosebumps saying it. The growth is so well deserved. You guys have been at this for years. People are finally understanding that this is when you guys go live, people need to stop whatever they're doing outside of hanging out with your family and anything and watch the Iron Lords podcast, because besides the group of men that are there, and we've seen such growth, the guests that they've been getting is just crazy. Talk about the Iron Lords. Talk about your statue show and where you may show up tonight.
Well, okay. I first and foremost, I want to give a shout out to Lord Cognito.
Oh my God, yes.
The co-host of Defining Duke. My guy is incredible. Iron Lords podcast, like it's fun. It's family oriented. Mm-hmm. All right, so you can watch it with the kids. and have a good time. We have a lot of different developers and stuff like that on, and some developers you like, what? How did they get on? But we know a lot of people. We go to a lot of these shows. We actually have boots on the ground. We actually talk to these people, and we are in talks in the background with a lot of people. Just come through, check us out, see if you like it. I'm pretty sure if we're the preferred podcast of the Mount Vernon school district, I gotta hang my hat on that, because that was a great thing. It was a great feeling, when I have the principals reach out to me and talk to me. It made me feel really good, because it let me know that I was on the right path with them, and I let the team know, and they was like, wow, are you serious? It's incredible stuff, to be acknowledged, and my kids can talk about this is what my dad does. It's an incredible feeling. I would have never thought in a million years that this would happen, but it's all due to you guys, because you guys show up, you guys listen to us talk about video games and stuff that we're all passionate about, and we try our best to bring you good opinions about stuff. Sometimes it's a little biased. Of course, I'm a little Xbox dude, but I love my PlayStation. I love my PlayStation too, baby. But I just try to bring the funny, because we have too much sad in the world, and I try to bring the funny to you guys. But my statue show, if you're looking around, you're saying, what's going on with all these wonderful statues? Is KOS, that's on Iron Lords podcast. That's lordsofgaming.net. If you can go there, you can check out all my statues that I have up there. I'm doing Electro right now. So that's a 1/4 XM Studios Electro. And right there, he's in the middle of being shocking or turning on the city or whatever. But I got a great story to talk about, and you can see the guys on the other side over here. I put the Thundercats up this week because I took Electro down. He's gonna make it into the red room.
Dude,
but
that room is big, but it looks like it gets smaller every week.
Oh no! So this guy, this is the media room, and I'm going to do a tour of the red room. I know I talk about it enough, but when y'all see the red room, you're gonna be like, "Oh my God!" And that's not even the purple room, because I got a purple room too with a ton of statues. But thank you guys. I love hanging out with Boom. I love hanging out with Bad Bad. I love hanging out with Big Cloud and my man Zenny. Definitely 100%. I'm trying to, because I just opened up 2 new companies, and I'm trying to get the logistics down, because I would love to be a regular with Boom in the morning on Breakfast with Boom.
Oh, dude, the seat is there, brother.
It's my favorite time of the day, to be honest with you. And I told them if I can make it, I'm definitely there 100% of the time, because I love the energy I get with Boom. And it is so much fun. Like, really, it's family. So, like I said, I'm trying to work it out so I can be a regular, because I love to be Robin to his Batman, at any time, So,
well,
thanks,
listen,
guys.
dude, obviously, we love having you. We love the opinions. We love the passion that you bring to the community. And, of course, the laughs. And really, at the end of the day, that is what it's all about. But, Mr. Badbit, you have been doing some, listen, I mean, you don't need the introduction, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. Folks, I have to tell you that there are a lot of terrible PlayStation podcasts out there. This is not one of them. This is one of my personal favorites. I would even dare say, and I say this, people say, oh, you're joking around. Listen, I watch Kind of Funny. I do. I like Greg. I know that some things went down years ago that a lot of people still get a bad taste. I get it. I understand. But I like a lot of the kids that he's bringing into the industry. Blessing is one of them. I love that kid. I think he's fantastic, right? So I watch Kind of Funny, and I watch their PlayStation show. Well, I'm here to tell you that I hold Mr. Badbit's PlayStation show right up there. So if you want a good PlayStation show, you got to check it out. You got to subscribe. Get over there. Show these people some love. Joe, talk about it.
Yeah, man. So look, it looks like this is my last Breakfast with Boom as a regular.
Yes, sir.
This is an ending of an era, and I'm a little sad about it, if I'm being honest. But yeah, so I start this part-time gig next week. I'm very excited about, very nervous about. But yeah, I want to thank Boom for all the opportunities you've given me for the past year and some change, man. Literally, I think we met in like March, and we've been close friends.
Yes, sir.
So fast. So it's incredible. So again, you are one of the best in this community, and I think the highlight with you, Boom, is it's the passion, it's the charisma, it is knowing that I'm sitting down with the same person on screen that I am off screen.
Yes.
That's what
you see is what you get.
It's
That's
the
the
all,
truth.
yeah, it's you're authentic. You're there's no copies of you, man.
Thank you.
I appreciate all that you've done.
There are no
for me.
variants of Boom running around. This
No
works again.
variants.
Okay,
No
we
variants
will
in
turn
this.
into that show.
Exactly. No alligator Boom running around. But
Which,
with
by the
that,
way, Mrs. Boomstick really liked. The
oh, dude, I
alligator
loved
emoji.
it. I loved
Wow.
it. You see the on-set alligator they use anyway. But yeah,
Wait,
amazing.
let me ask you a question just really quickly. Did anybody see Throg?
Yes.
So,
did you catch him?
Yeah, it was in the glass bottle, and
When
where it said
he was going down
365.
right next to Milner,
Yeah,
and he's trying to
yes.
grab it.
That is
Okay.
Frog
Oh,
Thor.
I
If you
thought-
did-
I
if you
thought I
missed
was the
out
only
on that,
person
that's
that saw it.
Frog Thor from issue 365.
Yes.
And yeah, that's that. Yeah,
And
so
on
Frog Thor
the
was a-
tube, it says 365.
it does. It's right there on the sticker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that show is so awesome. Anyway, you can find me on the Trophy Room, a PlayStation podcast, where usually each and every Thursday, me and my best friend Kyle talk about the latest and greatest in all things PlayStation. This week, we actually had to delay the episode till Friday because of the state of play.
Right.
So please, because YouTube hates Fridays and podcasts hate Fridays. So make
I
sure
think
you
YouTube hates
download
podcasters that are not 100,000 strong into subs.
That
That's
too.
what it-
that too. So I'm batting 1,000 here. Please go over there, check the show out. Kyle and I run down everything at the state of play. We talk about Assassin's Creed Infinity, the Ghost of Tsushima director's price cut. Me and Kyle have a really good conversation because we're on opposite ends there. So yeah. Go check that show out. It really does. It's something I pour a lot of work into because we don't want to be just, we see a lot of stuff out there. You got a lot of people throwing out the clickbaity stuff, and we try to be the anti-clickbait.
Yeah. No, you are far from the clickbaity bait.
Thank you.
And you know what? I want to bring in BitCloud here for a conversation because, folks, listen, I will never ask for me. Like I don't do for me because I'm a giver, right? That's just been my spiel. In uniform, out of uniform, Bruce Wayne, Batman. That's who I am, right? This guy, and I'm talking about BitCloud, he is within a breath's reach of 10,000 subs, and I am asking you, from one content creator to the fandom. Go sub this man's channel. Let's get this guy, because I talked about it last night. You don't understand what these kinds of accomplishments mean in regards to grand scope. First sub, mine is Mrs. Boomstick, right? I'm always going to know that. She was my first sub. It's my love of my life, right? You're always going to remember when you hit 100. But you're always going to remember when you hit 1,000. Right, like I got 1,000, I can be monetized. Yes, super chat. Right,
your first 100 is your hardest 100. It's like your first 1,000.
100%.
It literally multiplies from there.
Now, people, it will be different for people. Some people remember their 5,000. Some people remember their 9,000, 10,000. But 10,000 is where you get kind of raised up in YouTube, in this grand scheme of the YouTube algorithm thing. And again, the algorithms are just so out of whack. Folks, please do me a favor. Get over to BitCloud's channel. His information is right there. All you got to do is click the button. Do it for me. Do it for him. Sub that man's channel. Let's get him past 10K. BitCloud, sell your brand, brother.
Well, like I said, Boom. Going back, I gotta go back. Story time. I gotta go back when we first met at 3K subs. You hit me up, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, sure." I had no problem talking gaming. And who would have thought? 2 more shows later, you asked me to be a panel member, and here we are. We're family here. It's been a hell of a journey here. And the thing I love about Boom brings people together. He really does. If it wasn't for Boom, I don't think I ever would have met Zimby Games. I don't think I ever be as close as I am with King David as I am now. That's my homie, but I'm close with him. I would never met Bad Bit. Like I'm nodding his head. I see you nodding your head, Mr. Bad Bit. But it's been a long journey, that's for sure. Over a year, we've all grown that closer together, especially with this panorama, as Bad Bit likes to say. And just seeing everybody grow, everybody just reach those new milestones. Everybody, really just expand. That's probably one of the best things I've seen in a long time. Everybody just has something new. They have their own, they have their own special trait that they bring to this platform or to just this industry. And seeing Cognito get where he is, and seeing where Boom's getting going, and Bad Bit, I see you with Greg Miller, and me with PlayStation. Yep. With them approving interviews and being cool with sending devs.
Anything with these multimedia conglomerates, if you can get someone to approve anything, it's a big effing deal. It really is.
People thought it was small, but I'm like, guys, you don't understand. Sony has approved a lot of stuff that I can't even say anything. So I'm gonna tell them off here. Their jaws are gonna drop. But there's a lot of stuff I have planned in the future. It's just obviously pandemic. Obviously, with the way things are going, a lot of stuff kind of got pushed back a little further. And at the same time, I'm just growing it as I'm going. I'm going to different avenues. So you're
doing it grassroots.
And you're doing it the best way.
That is
honest
to
God.
Yeah,
because you're like your stuff is not like like most YouTube stuff. I can't say it without cursing. Yeah, it's garbage. I'll get a little bit messy here. Your stuff is legit. Like, you don't do the clickbaity bullcrap that we see a lot of others do out there, because it's easy and it'll grow your channel real fast, but you grow a toxic audience, and I hate that. And you do it just like, here's like the news of the day. Here's what we're talking about, and you're critical, and while at the same time being respectful. And it's
you can do both.
I shock the hell out of people like that every time. Like, I'll like, let's say one video, I'll be praising hell because it's a big deal, right? Hypothetically, and then something will be nonchalant because it's not that big of a deal. But some people will clickbait and make it seem like this is the biggest deal. I'm like, guys, it's not. It's this. I'll get that type of reaction all the time. But that's the good thing about building an actual audience. It takes time. It really does take time. Me, Boom, we've been doing YouTube for over 3 years. Well, I've been doing YouTube for over 3 years. So it takes time to grow an audience, but that's the beauty of it. When you grow an actual audience, you just have those who legit, genuinely love, not just the content, but they love to, interact with you. Yeah. It's easy to build a channel off of just harassing or attacking anybody. It's easy to do that. But what are you building? Are you building you're not. Are you building an audience? No, you're building just a cult, so to speak, and they just want to be cloud chasers. You don't want that.
Definitely don't be the cloud. Do it for what you love. If you love video games and you want to be a content creator, do it not for money, not for clout, not for clickbaity bait. Go out there and do it because you yourself want to talk about gaming. And if people feel your passion, if people see it, they're gonna be like, I like what they're saying. And it doesn't matter whether you have 1 sub or 100,000 subs. If you're passionate about it, go do it. Big Cloud, I'm going to pull you across that line on my freaking back if I have to. We're going to get you to 10K. And of course, let's talk about Zemi Games. Zemi, first of all, welcome back. This is, if you didn't know, Zemi Games, this is where he started, our friendship, our brotherhood, if you will, on Breakfast with Boom. Of course, he had asked much after, I think, being here almost a year, hey, Boom, listen, I love Xbox, and I would rather talk about Xbox. Come on over. So Thursdays work for him, and then Thursdays didn't work for him, and he's still talking about Xbox because I do 2 Xbox shows per week. The Xbox Factor podcast comes to you Tuesdays and Thursdays, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Shameless plug. Zemi Games, love what you're doing. Your channel's exploded on the scene. You do a lot of stuff, a lot of guides, which help out a lot of people. But I also want you to sell people on the constantgamer.com. Talk about your brand.
Yeah, absolutely. I was late to today's show, but I stayed the whole time, right?
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for that.
Oh my God. I can't even believe that I was late to the show because I'm like never late to like almost anything. I woke up and I looked at the phone and I was like, 10. I still got like, hours of sleep left, like I can sleep another hour or whatever. But then I saw your text and I was like, oh God, this isn't the Xbox Factory. This starts 2 hours sooner. It's been a long time. I'm out of practice for this show. Really, I am. But yeah, you guys can go over to YouTube, check out my YouTube channel. It's called Constant Gamer. I do a ton of guides, tutorial videos, of course, but I also do gaming news, reviews, all sorts of gaming content. So I'd appreciate it if you jumped over there on YouTube. It's Constant Gamer. Check out some videos. If you like the content, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And then you guys can also check me out on Twitter at Zemi Games. I pretty much post all the typical stuff that most people would expect me to post on Twitter. So if I see, an interesting article, I'll post that out. Or if I notice that somebody's, posting about an interesting article article or, just has something interesting to say or whatever it may be, I always usually retweet and so on and so forth. So I'd appreciate it if you would go over to Twitter and give me a follow at Zimmy Games as well. Boom, fantastic show as always. Mr. Badbit, it sounds like this is going to be your last show, but hey, don't forget, you can always come back, man. You can always come back.
Well, he's still going to be in the Xbox.
Write him a bigger
podcast.
check. We can't lose.
Yeah. But he can
gotta...
always make his return back to the show. I proved it today.
Very good. I appreciate that. Thank you. Now, we're still going to have him on the Thursday show of the Xbox Factor podcast because, quite frankly, he likes hearing Boxer Bear's voice. And who doesn't? Who doesn't like that very big, manly German accent that
it's
he has?
Just so kind. Like usually, you think of the German accent. It's very tough and gruff. And this is like, "Hello, I'm from Germany," and I'm like, "Oh, this is great."
And we all love it. Well, listen, folks. I hope that this was a great kickoff for your weekend. Obviously, enjoy gaming no matter where you enjoy gaming. If you enjoy PlayStation, do that. Xbox and Nintendo or wherever you find entertainment. I want to thank all the super chats, and it was quite frankly a gross amount of them. I honestly am always going to be grateful for the generosity that is shown to the channel. And of course, if you're new and you enjoyed the banter, consider hitting the like button before you get out of here, but also subscribe to the channel. And I want to close out the show with something that's important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he said, "Son, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, and I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day." So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Breakfast with Boom.